And we have agreed on that you're going to have a reading for me or do some mediumship for me. And we're going to see if my grandmother can come through, or my father's mother, who passed away during COVID. And what I'm curious about, and I ask sometimes people who are channeling on the show, is okay, what if my grandmother has incarnated? What if she is on another planet right now? What if she decided to become a butterfly? Like, it seems like we are so multidimensional beings that so I'm curious, like, why would she be there now, ready to come through as my grandmother, when she could be reincarnated as something else, or maybe on another dimension where we can't even reach her? Like, I don't know where she is.
Yeah, this is again another question that people ask, but reincarnation is just a massive in-depth subject, and it's not the way that we would think it would be. So if you think about it like a diamond, if you think about holding a diamond, and the diamond has many different facets, and each facet of that diamond emanates a light and reflects a light, that light of that one facet of the diamond would be your grandmother's incarnation here on earth. So that would be your grandmother. Another facet of the same diamond, which would be of your grandmother's spirit, might incarnate as someone else. So I suppose to make it simpler, Karen, me, I have incarnated as Karen right now. But when I go home to the spirit side, I go home to the whole part of me, the spirit of me, the source. And part of that source might then want to incarnate again as someone else to have a different experience. But the Karen experience here on earth is the only Karen experience here on earth. So that part of my spirit can still communicate.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, have the spirits told you anything about the times that we're living in right now? A lot of people on my show are speaking about the shift in consciousness, and it feels like many in the universe are watching us, and also the spirit world, and are curious about or supporting what we're going through, excited about this shift of consciousness. Have you heard spirits talk about this?
Not on a wide scale, mainly because when I work day to day, it's mainly for other people and what they need personally. I do sit with my own guides. I do trance mediumship for my own private group. And in those groups, we can be given some philosophy and wisdom from the guides that come through as I work. And really, I think the main message, I suppose, and it'll not be unlike other mediums talking about it, is about, there is an awakening happening, that people are becoming more and more aware. And we talk about, the kind of computers and social media and the platforms that are out there now. And in a lot of ways they do damage, but in a lot of ways they're good too, because they are reaching more people than ever before. So there is a shift in consciousness on that front. And obviously with the way the world is at the moment and all the conflicts that are going on, it's not that these conflicts have not been going on all these years. It's that we are more aware of them because they are out in the public eye a little bit more, and that we're more aware in that sense. So then, of course, Spirit will come forward to help guide people with that. Spirit will always come forward to offer guidance and healing and help in any situation like that. So for me, it's been more about coming forward and talking about the awareness of what's happening, but also what you can do as an individual to bring yourself forward in that circumstance too, and kind of develop yourself to understand what this is about.
Yeah, and I feel like people like yourself who have these gifts are very often eager to communicate to us, others, that we also have these abilities. And I know that you teach 4 tools on how to communicate with spirit guides.
Mhm.
Could you share those tools with the audience today?
Yeah, the main one is meditation. And you hear people speaking about meditation all the time because, again, that's a much more known thing now. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, maybe people wouldn't have talked about it as much. But now it's out there, and it's a really amazing thing to do. And when you meditate, people seem to think that meditation needs to be taking an hour out of every day and sitting in the same place and doing the same thing. And it's really not. Meditation is prayer. It's taking 5 minutes of your day to close your eyes, take deep breaths, try to connect with those that are helping and guiding you. But more importantly, in order to get to your guides, you need to first understand that you are the higher power, that you yourself have the higher power. And if you learn to connect with yourself through meditation, so that would be going into the quiet space, talking inwardly, anything that's in your heart, anything that's in your soul, and just hearing yourself speak back is the only way I can describe it. That is your higher self talking to you. So when we recognize that, we can then go forward and make progress into connecting with our higher guides. And we all have a spirit team. We all have more than one guide. You hear lots of people saying, my guide this, my guide that, but there's more than one every time. There's a team that work with every single person, regardless of whether they do mediumship. We all have this spirit team with us. And through meditation, then you can ask for signs. You can ask for them to step forward. One way that I love is creating a vision in your mind of a space that you like to be in. So for some, it could be the beach. For some, it could be a library. It could be the woods, the forest, wherever you feel drawn in your mind's eye when you're doing this exercise. And then sit there, just sit within that space and visualize everything around, feel things, how do the trees smell, what's the scent of the flowers, the feeling the ground beneath your feet. That opens up your senses. And then in that space, then ask your guides, your helpers, your team to step forward if they would like to, and ask to get to know them. And you will be amazed at the results. Another thing you can do is sit with a journal and just take a few moments quiet and go into yourself, a few deep breaths, and then start to write. And you will find that the words that come out and the writing that you've done by the end of the exercise will have messages in there. It might have information about your guides in there. So really, it's a time where you will connect without thinking too hard about it, without putting too much emphasis on what you think. Because the minute you bring your brain into that and your mind into that, your imagination will kick in. So it's just holding space for your guides and your helpers to come forward, and every single person can do that. I would also add, though, don't be discouraged or disheartened if it doesn't happen the first time or the second time. It does take practice.
Do you think sometimes some of us are not supposed to have this connection? Because I've tried many times. And to you, it feels like it's so natural, like you just started hearing and seeing spirits. So it seems like for that some of us are meant to have this openness and others are not. And I feel there's a deeper meaning with me not so easily connecting, because otherwise I would probably not be so curious about other people connecting.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
I mean, I don't think it's... I mean, everyone has the connection. Everyone is psychic. Everyone that is on this earth is psychic, because we do come from the spirit realms. We come here, we are born into the physical, and we live this physical life. So when we come here, our psychic ability, which is what we use in the spirit side of things, that sixth sense, is still there. It's still prevalent. So some people call it their intuition. They get a hunch about something, they feel things. That's all psychic. So we are all psychic. So therefore, we can all connect to the higher side, to the higher self and the higher guides. I feel that sometimes if it doesn't happen, like you've just said, it's maybe not meant at that time. And in fact, I do tell my students, I know that this goes against the grain sometimes, but I will always say to my students, don't look for it, just let it happen. When I met my guides and my spirit team, I didn't go looking for it. I meditated anyway. I sat in prayer. I done all of that just as a spiritual practice and to develop myself. Then what happened as a result of that was I started to get given things and visuals and names and things that then I went away afterwards and researched, because I am very skeptical. I am someone that, I don't just believe it because I feel it or hear it in that moment. I'm the type of medium that says, well, that could be my imagination. Let me go and see what I can make sense of. So my team knew that they would have to give me things that I could research and have physical evidence of, or I wouldn't believe it. So that's what I started to do. And as a result of that, I was given information that there's just no way it could have came from anywhere else apart from my guides. And it tied up with other information I had other meditations, but was very random. And then when it all came together, it was just an amazing picture. And that's how I met my guides. So it happens differently for everyone. And that's coming from a medium who does the work. I didn't go looking for my guides or helpers. It just happened when I feel it was supposed to. So I think that's healthy.
To watch the full video, click the link below, and I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel.
Resto maliata falia, tan shavra leto.